Have you ever replayed someone's words in your mind long after they were spoken, feeling the sting over and over again? Have you noticed how hurt feelings can stay with you sometimes for days, even years, shaping how you see yourself and others? Well, you're not alone. We all face moments when words wound, when actions bruise, or when rejection feels overwhelming. But what if you discovered that your mind holds the power to dissolve those hurts? What if instead of letting old injuries dictate your emotions, you could release them and replace them with peace, strength, and love? This workbook will show you how. In these chapters, you will learn how Dr. Joseph Murphy's timeless teachings on the subconscious mind can heal emotional wounds. You will see how spiritual law, scripture, and mental practice can transform your inner life. You'll not only read inspiring explanations, but also take part in simple exercises that retrain your thought patterns. By the end, you'll carry with you a daily practice of emotional freedom, a cure for hurt feelings that last. How to use this book. This workbook is designed for both study and practice. Each chapter builds on the previous one, creating a complete system for emotional healing and protection. Read actively. Don't just read the words, absorb the principles and make them your own. Practice the exercises. Each chapter includes a simple but powerful exercise. Practice it consistently for best results. Be patient with yourself. Emotional healing is a process. Give yourself time to integrate these new patterns. The suggestion is to practice each chapter's exercise and affirmations until they become your new way of thinking before moving on to the next chapter. Review regularly. Return to chapters that resonate with you. Repetition is the key to subconscious programming. Remember, you have within you right now all the power you need to heal any hurt feeling and live in emotional freedom. Welcome. Today we bring you The Cure for Hurt Feelings, a 2025 revised workbook based on the teachings of Dr. Joseph Murphy. Chapter 1. The Nature of Hurt Feelings. Hurt feelings aren't caused by external circumstances, but by our internal reactions to those circumstances. This is perhaps the most liberating truth you can ever understand about human emotions. When someone criticizes you, rejects you, or treats you poorly, the hurt you feel isn't actually caused by their actions. It's caused by the thoughts and beliefs that arise in your mind in response to their actions. Two people can experience the identical situation, the same words, the same treatment, and have completely different emotional responses. One may be devastated, while the other remains completely unaffected. This means that your hurt feelings are always within your control, even when the external circumstances aren't. You can't control what others say or do, but you have absolute dominion over your thoughts, beliefs, and emotional responses. This is the foundation of all emotional freedom. The subconscious mind is like fertile soil. It accepts whatever seeds or thoughts you plant in it and grows them into your emotional reality. If you plant thoughts of victimhood, rejection, and unworthiness, you'll harvest those hurt feelings. But if you plant thoughts of self-worth, divine protection, and inner strength, you'll harvest peace and confidence. Understanding this principle is the first step towards emotional mastery. You aren't at the mercy of other people's words or actions. You are the master of your emotional destiny. Here's an exercise. When you notice hurt feelings arising, immediately say to yourself, I am in control of my thoughts and feelings. I choose peace over pain. Repeat this 3 times while taking deep, calming breaths, and repeat throughout the day as needed. Chapter 2. The Power of Self-Worth. Most hurt feelings stem from a fundamental belief that we're somehow inadequate, unworthy, or defective. When someone criticizes us or treats us poorly, it triggers these deep-seated fears about ourselves and we experience emotional pain. But here's the truth that can set you free. Your worth isn't determined by other people's opinions, actions, or approval. You're a unique expression of the divine, created with infinite value and potential. This worth is inherent and unchangeable. It can't be diminished by criticism, rejection, or mistreatment unless you allow it. When you truly understand and accept your inherent worth, other people's negative behavior loses its power to hurt you. Criticism becomes simply information to consider or discard. Rejection becomes their loss, not your failure. Mistreatment becomes a reflection of their character, not your value. This doesn't mean you become callous or indifferent to others. Rather, you develop a healthy emotional boundary that protects your inner peace while still allowing you to love and serve others from a place of strength rather than neediness. Your subconscious mind will accept and manifest whatever you consistently believe about yourself. Choose to believe your inherent worth and watch how your emotional responses transform. Here's an exercise. Look in the mirror each morning and say, I am worthy of love, respect, and kindness. My value comes from within and can't be diminished by others. Then feel the truth of these words as you speak them. Repeat throughout the day and as needed. Chapter 3. Forgiveness as Liberation. Forgiveness isn't something you do for others. It's something you do for yourself. When you hold on to hurt feelings, resentment, and anger, you're not punishing the person who wronged you. You're poisoning your own mind and body with toxic emotions. You're allowing that person to live rent-free in your head. True forgiveness doesn't mean condoning wrong behavior or allowing yourself to be mistreated. It means releasing the emotional charge around past events so they no longer have power over your present peace and future happiness. Forgiveness is a decision, not a feeling. You may not feel like forgiving at first, but you can choose to forgive. As you make this choice consistently and reinforce it with positive mental programming, the feelings will follow. The subconscious mind can't distinguish between past, present, or future. Your subconscious experiences them as happening right now, creating fresh pain each time. Forgiveness breaks this cycle and frees your mental and emotional energy for positive creation. Remember, forgiveness isn't about them. It's about you and your freedom. Here's a story. Sarah had carried anger towards her former business partner for 3 years. He had cheated her out of thousands of dollars and destroyed their friendship. Every time she thought about him, she felt the familiar surge of rage and betrayal. One day, exhausted by her own anger, Sarah decided to try a different approach. She didn't excuse his behavior or pretend it was acceptable. Instead, she simply said, I release this anger for my own peace. I forgive him and I let go. At first, nothing seemed to change, but Sarah persisted, repeating her forgiveness statement whenever the anger arose. Gradually, she noticed the emotional charge diminishing. Within weeks, she could think about the situation without pain. The most remarkable change came in her business life. Freed from the emotional and mental energy she had been spending on resentment, Sarah's creativity and focus returned. Within 6 months, she had launched a new venture that became more successful than her previous partnership had ever been. Sarah realized that her anger had been the real prison, and forgiveness was the key that set her free. Exercise. Choose one person that you need to forgive. Say aloud, I forgive, insert their name here, completely, and release all resentment for my own peace and freedom. Repeat this daily or as needed until you feel the emotional charge dissolve. Chapter 4. The Shield of Divine Protection. You can develop an invisible shield of protection around your emotions by understanding and claiming your spiritual identity. You're not just a physical being subject to the whims and cruelties of others. You're a spiritual being having a human experience connected to infinite love, wisdom, and power. When you align your consciousness with this higher truth, you become like a mountain that remains unmoved by passing storms. Negative words and actions from others become like rain that simply rolls off your surface without penetrating your core. This protection isn't built through hardening your heart or becoming defensive. It's built through expanding your awareness of who you truly are and claiming your divine inheritance of peace, strength, and unshakable worth. Program your subconscious mind with the truth of your spiritual protection. See yourself surrounded by divine light that transforms all negativity into love before it can reach you. Know that you're guided, guarded, and protected by infinite intelligence. This isn't wishful thinking. It's the recognition of spiritual law. And as you align with this truth consistently, you'll find that hurtful situations either avoid you entirely or lose their power to disturb your peace. Here's an exercise. Each morning, visualize yourself surrounded by brilliant white light. Say, I am divinely protected. Only love can reach me, and only love flows from me. Carry this image and feeling with you throughout the day, repeating as needed. Chapter 5. Transforming criticism into growth. Criticism is one of the most common sources of hurt feelings. But it can become one of your greatest tools for growth when you learn how to handle it correctly. The key is to separate the message from the messenger and the truth from emotion. When someone criticizes you, ask yourself, is there any truth in this that can help me grow? If yes, extract the valuable information and discard the rest. If no, simply let the criticism pass through your consciousness without resistance, like wind through an open window. Remember that criticism often says more about the critic than about you. People who are happy and secure rarely feel the need to tear others down. Those who criticize harshly are often protecting their own insecurities. Those who criticize harshly are often projecting their own insecurities, fears, and pain onto you. This understanding allows you to respond to criticism with compassion rather than defensiveness. You should feel grateful for any useful feedback and grateful for the opportunity to practice emotional mastery. Your subconscious mind will follow your lead in interpreting criticism. If you program it to see criticism as an attack on your worth, you'll experience pain. But if you program it to see criticism as information to evaluate objectively, you'll maintain your peace and often gain valuable insights. Exercise. The next time someone criticizes you, take a deep breath and ask, what can I learn from this? Extract any useful information and then say silently, I am grateful for all the feedback and I remain at peace within myself. Chapter 6. The healing power of self-talk. The conversations you have with yourself is the most important conversation of your life. Your self-talk programs your subconscious mind, shapes your emotional responses, and determines your experience of life. Most people are unconscious of their self-talk, allowing negative, self-defeating thoughts to run automatically in the backgrounds of their minds. These thoughts create the very hurt feelings and emotional pain they want to avoid. Conscious, positive self-talk is like medicine for hurt feelings. When you deliberately choose thoughts of self-worth, strength, and peace, you literally reprogram your emotional responses. Your subconscious mind accepts these new instructions and begins to manifest them as your lived experience. The key is consistency and repetition. Just like negative self-talk created your current emotional patterns through repetition, positive self-talk will create new, healthier patterns through the same process. Make your self-talk a conscious practice. Choose words that heal, strengthen, and uplift you. Speak to yourself with the same kindness and encouragement you would offer a beloved friend. Exercise. Create a personal affirmation that addresses your specific emotional challenges. For example, I am strong, worthy, and at peace. I respond to all situations with wisdom and love. Repeat this affirmation 10 times each morning, evening, and as needed throughout the day. Chapter 7. Breaking free from people-pleasing. People-pleasing is often at the root of chronic hurt feelings. When your sense of worth depends on others' approval, you become emotionally vulnerable to their every word and action. This creates an exhausting cycle of trying to control others' responses to avoid your own pain. True emotional freedom comes from developing internal validation, knowing your worth independent of others' opinions or reactions. This doesn't mean being selfish or inconsiderate. It means being kind and helpful from a place of choice rather than compulsion. When you break free from people-pleasing, you paradoxically become more attractive and respected. People sense your authentic strength and are naturally drawn to it. You also become more genuinely helpful because your service comes from love rather than fear. The subconscious mind thrives on clear, consistent messages. When you send mixed messages, saying yes when you mean no, agreeing when you disagree, you create internal conflict that manifests as emotional turmoil. authenticity creates internal harmony and external respect. Here's a story. Mark had spent his entire adult life trying to make everyone happy. He said yes to every request, avoided all conflict, and constantly worried about what others thought of him. Despite his efforts, he felt chronically hurt and disappointed when people didn't appreciate his sacrifices. One day, Mark realized he was living his life for others' approval rather than his own values. He started practicing saying no to requests that didn't align with his priorities. At first, he felt guilty and feared rejection. But to his surprise, the opposite happened. As Mark became more authentic and boundaried, people began respecting him more. His relationships became deeper and more genuine. Most importantly, he stopped feeling hurt by others' reactions because his worth was no longer dependent on their approval. Mark discovered that the approval he had been seeking from others had been available within himself all along. Exercise. Practice saying no to one small request each day, even if it's just declining a social invitation you don't truly want to accept. Notice the world doesn't end, and your relationships more often than not improve when you're authentic. Chapter 8. The Law of Mental Substitution. Your mind can only hold one thought at a time. This simple truth is the foundation of the law of mental substitution, one of the most powerful tools for healing hurt feelings. When a painful thought or memory arises, you can't simply will it away through resistance. What you resist persists. Instead, you must substitute it with a positive healing thought. The negative thought will naturally dissolve as the positive thought takes its place. This isn't about denying reality or pretending painful experiences didn't happen. It's about choosing which thoughts you'll dwell on and energize with your attention. You can acknowledge a hurtful experience without replaying it endlessly in your mind. Prepare positive substitution thoughts in advance. When hurt feelings arise, immediately redirect your mind to these prepared thoughts. With practice, this becomes automatic, and your emotional responses transform. Your subconscious mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant and tend will grow. Plant thoughts of healing, strength, and peace, and these will become your emotional reality. Exercise. Prepare 3 positive thoughts to use as substitutes when hurt feelings arise. For example, I am surrounded by love. This too shall pass. And I choose peace over pain. Practice switching to these thoughts whenever negativity arises. Chapter 9. Creating emotional immunity. Just like your body can develop immunity to physical diseases, your mind can develop immunity to emotional wounds. This immunity comes from strengthening your mental and spiritual constitution through consistent positive programming. Emotional immunity doesn't mean you become cold or unfeeling. It means you develop such a strong sense of inner worth and peace that external negativity can't penetrate your core. You remain loving and compassionate while being emotionally unshakable. This immunity is built through daily practices that reinforce your spiritual identity and inherent worth. Prayer, meditation, positive affirmation, and conscious gratitude all contribute to this inner strength. The stronger your emotional immunity, the more you can serve others from a place of strength rather than neediness. You become a source of healing and inspiration rather than someone who needs constant validation and protection. Here's an exercise. Each evening, spend 5 minutes in gratitude, listing 3 things you appreciate about yourself and 3 blessings in your life. This builds emotional immunity by focusing your subconscious mind on abundance rather than lack. Here's a story. The teacher's transformation. David had been a high school teacher for 15 years, but lately every day felt like a battle. Student complaints, parent criticisms, and administrative pressure had worn him to a frazzle. When a particularly harsh evaluation from his principal called his teaching methods outdated and ineffective, David felt crushed. He went home that evening convinced he was a failure. For weeks, David replayed the principal's words in his mind. He lost sleep, snapped at his family, and dreaded going to work. His confidence was shattered, and he seriously considered leaving the profession he had once loved. Then David remembered something his mentor had taught him years earlier. Your value as a person isn't determined by your performance reviews. He decided to test this principle. Instead of focusing on the criticism, David began each morning by affirming, "I am a gifted teacher who makes a positive difference in students' lives." At first, the words felt hollow, but David persisted. He also started looking for evidence of his positive impact. A student who finally understood a difficult concept, a thank you note from a parent, moments of genuine connection in his classroom. Gradually, David's perspective shifted. He realized the principle's criticism, while painful, contained some valid points about updating his methods. But instead of seeing this as proof of his inadequacy, David viewed it as an opportunity for growth. David enrolled in professional development courses and began incorporating new teaching strategies. His renewed enthusiasm was infectious. Students responded positively, and his classroom became more engaging than ever. 6 months later, the same principal that had criticized David wrote a glowing review, praising his remarkable growth and innovative approach. But David barely noticed. He had learned that his worth as a teacher and as a person came from within, not from others' evaluations. The criticism that had once devastated him had become the catalyst for his greatest professional growth. Exercise. Each evening, spend 5 minutes in gratitude, listing 3 things you can appreciate about yourself and 3 blessings in your life. This builds emotional immunity by focusing your subconscious mind on abundance rather than lack. Chapter 10. The Miracle of Present Moment Awareness. Most hurt feelings aren't about what's happening right now. They're about what happened in the past or what might happen in the future. The present moment, when fully experienced, is almost always peaceful and manageable. When you anchor your consciousness in the present moment, you step out of the mental time machine that creates emotional suffering. Past hurts lose their power when you're not mentally reliving them. Future fears dissolve when you're not mentally rehearsing them. Present moment awareness isn't about ignoring the past or future. It's about dealing with them from a place of centered peace rather than emotional reactivity. From this centered place, you can learn from the past and plan for the future without being emotionally hijacked by either. Your subconscious mind operates in the eternal now. When you align your conscious mind with the present moment awareness, you tap into infinite peace and wisdom that are always available to you. Exercise. When hurt feelings arise, bring your attention to your breath. Count 5 deep breaths, focusing only on the sensation of breathing. This anchors you in the present moment where peace naturally resides. Chapter 11. Rewriting your emotional story. You are not the victim of your past experiences. You're the author of your life story. The meaning you assign to past events determines their power over your present emotions. You can rewrite your story at any time by changing the meaning you give to your experiences. Every painful experience contains seeds of wisdom, strength, and growth. When you focus on these positive aspects rather than the pain, you transform your past from a source of hurt into a source of power. This doesn't mean pretending that painful experiences were pleasant. It means extracting the value and lessons while releasing the emotional charge. You can acknowledge that something was difficult while also recognizing how it contributed to your growth and wisdom. Your subconscious mind will manifest whatever story you consistently tell yourself about your life. Choose to tell a story of resilience, growth, and triumph rather than victimhood and pain. Exercise. Write a brief paragraph about a past hurt, focusing only on what you learned, how you grew, and the strength that you gained from the experience. Read this new version whenever the old painful memories arise. Chapter 12. Living in Emotional Freedom. Emotional freedom isn't a destination you reach. It's a way of life you choose moment by moment. It's the ongoing practice of applying these principles until they become as natural as breathing. True emotional freedom means you no longer live in fear of what others might say or do. You respond to life from a place of inner strength and peace rather than reacting from old wounds and insecurities. You become a master of your emotional destiny. This freedom allows you to love more deeply, serve more effectively, and live more joyfully. When you're not constantly protecting yourself from emotional wounds, you can open your heart fully to life's beauty and possibilities. Remember that emotional freedom is your natural state. Hurt feelings are learned responses that you can unlearn. Peace, joy, and love are your birthright. Claim them as your own. The principles in this workbook aren't theories to be understood intellectually, but they're tools to use daily. Make them your constant companions and watch your life transform in miraculous ways. Here's a story. Lisa had struggled with hurt feelings her entire life. Every criticism felt like a personal attack. Every rejection confirmed her deepest fears about herself. She lived in constant emotional pain, never knowing when the next wound would come. After discovering these principles, Lisa began the daily practice of emotional mastery. She started each day with affirmations of her worth. She practiced forgiveness as a daily discipline. She learned to substitute positive thoughts for negative ones automatically. The transformation didn't happen overnight, but it was steady and profound. Within months, Lisa had noticed that situations that would have devastated her before barely registered as minor inconveniences. She felt strong, peaceful, and genuinely happy for the first time in years. Most remarkably, as Lisa healed her own emotional wounds, she became a source of healing for others. People were drawn to her peaceful strength and often asked for her advice on handling their own emotional challenges. Lisa realized that her past pain had been transformed into present purpose. She was living proof that anyone can achieve emotional freedom through the consistent application of these timeless principles. Exercise. Commit to practicing one principle from this workbook each day for the next 30 days. Keep a journal of your progress and notice how your emotional responses transform through consistent practice. Epilogue. You've now been given the keys to emotional freedom. These principles aren't mere concepts. They are powerful tools that have transformed millions of lives throughout history. They can transform your life too, but only if you apply them consistently with feeling. You've learned that hurt feelings aren't caused by external circumstances, but by your internal responses to those circumstances. You've discovered that your worth is inherent and unchangeable, regardless of others' opinions or actions. You've been shown how to use forgiveness, positive self-talk, and present moment awareness to heal old wounds and prevent new ones. And most importantly, you've learned that you're not a victim of your emotions, you're their master. You have within you right now all the power you need to live in complete emotional freedom. The choice is yours. You can continue to live at the mercy of others' words and actions, allowing hurt feelings to rob you of your peace and joy. Or you can claim your birthright of emotional mastery and live as the strong, peaceful, joyful being you were created to be. These principles work, but they require practice. Make them your daily companions. Use them in every situation that challenges your peace. Trust in their power and trust in your own ability to transform your emotional life completely. You are stronger than any hurt feeling. You are more powerful than any criticism or rejection. You are the magnificent being with unlimited potential for peace, joy, and love. The cure for hurt feelings isn't found in changing others or controlling circumstances. It's found in awakening to your own inner power and using it consciously every day. Your journey to emotional freedom begins now. Take the first step, then the next, then the next. Before you know it, you'll be living in the emotional freedom that is your divine right. The power is within you. The time is now. Your new life of emotional mastery awaits. So as you think in your heart, so are you. Choose thoughts of peace, and peace will be your experience. Choose thoughts of strength, and strength will be your reality. Choose thoughts of love, and love will surround you always. The end. Thanks for listening. If you see the value in this workbook and you'd like to actually practice these principles, you can buy the e-version for easier following. Go to empoweru.net. That's the letter M like man, the word power, then dash, the letter U, and .net. You can also get this link below. So if you like mind-expanding truths to build a successful life on, then subscribe to our channel, and we will bring you more and more works that work. May peace, blessings, and prosperity rest on you and yours. Again, keep expanding. Thanks for listening, and have a fantastic day.